Hey, Sav.
Hey Shay and bonjour brand connoisseurs. Welcome to the Art of Branding podcast on the Team SCG podcast network. So Shay, rate your day with minimal context.
I'm giving it an 8, and it's because it's Friday.
Okay, queen. I love to hear it. And it's that
What
Friday
about you?
feeling. I'm gonna go let's go 8. I'll do 8 as well because it's Friday. I'm hanging out with my girly twirly and we're just parking it and shooting the shit.
I know, I love these kinds of episodes, and I think today it's less of like an elephant in the room and more of just the elephant of the season, and it's Thanksgiving.
I
And
know.
all the things that there is to be thankful for as individuals and as a dream team.
Exactly. As a dream team, as individuals, as a company, 'tis the season for gratitude, the attitude of gratitude.
I will say you got me started on the gratitude because I gave you so much shit for our journals that you rolled out last year where you put a gratitude page on top. And I still don't use it. I still don't write out my gratitude, but it has helped open my eyes of the daily consciousness of being grateful.
And that is the root and foundation of so much of the things that keep me grounded is in fact gratitude. I start my day off by, going through a whole slew of things that I am grateful for to have every day in my life as blessings, which I know we're getting deep here, but
I think it helps though. Like, and it's that's been part of my just spiritual growth, my evolution as a person is like, I believe, and I have a very weird space that I live in for my own beliefs, but like everything is about your frequency and your vibration. And when you're in this state of gratefulness and gratitude for what's around you, like you're lifted up. And that has been something that you have to be conscious about it, because it's very easy just to wake up like it's a normal day and just go on about your day. But like, hold on, stop for a minute, think about what you're going to do for the day and about how so many other people don't have that opportunity.
exactly. And when you work, it's easy to like let these things slip past you when you work in a very high pace environment, as we both do, and to let the pace of the day, the stresses of the day really weigh you down and feel heavy. But then it gives you perspective when you're able to pick your head up, look around and say, okay, wait, hold on. There's actually so much that I have to be grateful for, so many things that I take for granted on the daily that I need to recognize and bring my attention towards to make me have this perspective of where I am. And even though every phase of life, and we're getting deep again, and I'm just, like I said, a sensitive little girly, but every phase of life that I've been in thus far is filled with a lot of blessings, but a lot of stress. And whether you want to be in that next phase or whatever comes with a lot of other pressures. And so, when it's so easy to feel and acknowledge the pressures, but you also have to acknowledge the things that you were hoping for, the things that you wanted from this particular space and place that you're in. So, I am a huge journaler. And I love to do that on the daily, as well as we do these planners each and every, we just created our second one. So each and every year, exactly. Each and every year for 2 years now.
Moving forward.
Exactly. Moving forward, it's something that we're all doing. But there's a space in our planners that say, like, today I'm grateful for, and then 3 lines.
And people use it. I was so surprised, but like everyone that I've actually have given this to and I've seen it in use, like people do use that part of it. And it's just a lazy thing for me. So I just don't do it. But I will say that I have been so much more conscious about living in that state of gratefulness. And I think you hit the nail on the head. It's one word: perspective.
Yeah.
If you can literally shift your perspective in every situation that you're in, it has helped me truly navigate some of the hardest places that I've been in from a business perspective and from a personal perspective.
Well, girly, you got a lot going on.
Yes. And my ability to stay positive when I'm going through it rains, it pours. I mean, on a personal level, I have gone through the trenches this year when it comes to my house. For anyone who doesn't know, but my house like had flooding, and I had to move out of my house for 2 months.
So they had just bought this house within the year.
It's been 2 years we've been in this house, and it was the definition of when it rains, it pours. I mean, we decided to redo our roof. And at the time that we decided to redo our roof, we did not have flooding. Now, it just turns out that when it was time to actually do the roof, which if you've ever done a roof, you know it takes like 3 months.
And
When
it's
it
an
was
arm and a
time,
leg.
when it was time to do the roof, that's when the flooding started. So that all happened at once, and we actually had to like move out of the house and with 3 dogs, a baby, a husband, and I moved into my parents' house. And for 2 months.
Which
And
God bless them.
I haven't lived in my parents' house since before college. So it was a lot. And I remember being so proud of myself because I was literally like thinking about it. Well, it can't get much worse. Like when it comes to my house, like it can't get much worse. I can't live in it. There's mold, like bad. But I was able to remain in this place of gratitude because my parents were welcoming me with open arms. And although, you know, I have a husband who is willing to move in with my parents, and my dogs are so well behaved that that wasn't a huge hardship on them. And my son didn't miss a beat because my mom has everything set up at her house for him. So, like, I was really impressed by the shift of my attitude that made me able to get through that situation. And I think everyone here was very surprised that I wasn't snippier.
To be able to get that perspective and remain present in the moment that you're in, whether you are at work or whether you are in your personal life, it's something that really is able to be a tool. And it's something that like we're in like this hustle, we're in a world that like is very, very based on comparison and, oh, I don't have this, and scarcity mindset. When you shift into a space of gratitude, it becomes a much more abundant place and a much more it's like a higher, you're vibrating at a higher frequency.
That's exactly it.
Exactly.
And you are able to attract based on the vibration frequency that you're on. So it's honestly like I took it as a mental challenge, and I was able to, I remember like just sitting in my car and being like, bring it on, bitch. Like, what else you got for me today?
Exactly.
And they did, the universe did. So it's one of those things that I think was really inspiring for me to be able to realize that my mentality and my determination to remain positive and grateful really impacted the fact that I could have gone into a spiraling depression over those 2 months with
Heck
all the things that
yeah.
happened. And, you know, my house was just one part of it. There's a lot of other things that happened on a personal level. But at the end of the day, like, I thank you, and I'll thank you for it. I'm thankful to you for it because you put it in my head. You really helped open my eyes of like, you might think that you're grateful, but if you're not taking the time every day to think about what you're grateful for, it's really easy to get off of that level and kind of just sink down.
Well, thank you. And that means a lot to me. And like for like I only talk about the things that bring me personal, I don't know, like my own personal development, like the things that have like really impacted me. And this one in particular, gratitude, has been very much so that. So being able to incorporate that, and it's free. And it's a very low lift, you know, once you start like being able to like recognize like the amount of joy, like people talk about like a dopamine menu, and you can get dopamine by looking at your phone, by going on social media, by doing these things, but that's not sustained dopamine. And that's the type of stuff that doesn't like really last. Like this is something that is very, very easy, very, very breezy, and that like anybody can do. That's really, really impactful. So with that being said, like, you know, in the season of gratitude, in the season of Thanksgiving, there's just so many things that we are grateful for that, you know, we figured we would take the time to come on here and express our gratitude.
I think understanding like the areas we have the opportunity to have gratitude in our day to day from a work perspective is really powerful also. So with all the things that could go wrong, I am grateful that we have the relationships with our supply chain that we do, that we could pretty much fix anything that we need to when the inevitable happens.
And that's a huge, 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 huge piece of our puzzle that we don't necessarily bring light to enough. Like we just had Haley Chipchase on, who is an amazing partner. We couldn't love her more and we couldn't appreciate her more. And the amount
we have so many just like that are just literally the secret sauce
to
what we do.
At this point, like we really acknowledge that we're in the business of relationships here, and we have such strong relationships with so many different factories, so many different suppliers, so many different multi-line reps, that they keep the wheels turning, and we have very, very strong legs to stand on, that if something goes awry, we are confident in the fact that we'll figure it out.
Absolutely. And I think more just the opportunity that we've had to develop the relationships because of my dad and uncle starting them so long ago, and us being able to come in and continue those and use it as a trampoline to build off of them, is it's just something that we're so blessed and lucky to have. And in addition to that, that spins right into my gratitude towards our team, because our team is the put your head down and figure it out type team. We do not know how to accept the answer no. My dad has instilled in our company that if you can't get through the front door, you go through the side. If you can't get through the side,
Go through the chimney.
exactly. Can't get through the chimney, you go through the window.
Hit
If
a
you can't get through the
window.
window, you dig a tunnel underneath the house. Like,
Do what needs to be done.
that mentality though has shaped who we are as a company, and our customers feel that. Our customers feel that we will do what needs to be done for the right situation.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
I'm grateful for it. I'm great that takes a special group of people.
And our team is so it's a very, like, we have a very diversified team, I would venture to say, with very various skill sets, very, like, very different approaches. Like, as we do move towards a more like standardized work and whatnot, we have very unique players. Like, it's not an attempt to make people like like all the same, but
We
like,
have an SCG way.
and there's a general understanding of our culture and the things in which we do not bend or break on, and that is
Service.
client, exactly, client enthusiasm, client
And
service.
what we give to our clients is what we expect on our supply chain. And I think that understanding of like, this is what we're offering people and this is what we need to be able to receive in the back end has allowed for that.
Exactly. It's funny because, and you know this about me, but like when I go out to a restaurant,
This is my favorite. This was actually getting to know you. This is when I'm like, oh shit.
So here's the thing: when I go out to a restaurant, I can be a server's worst nightmare.
Why?
Only because, well, for two things. Number one, because I personally give a level of service that is top notch to clients in which, like, I work with, or prospects, or literally anybody. If it's the custodian, like,
Have you been in the service industry?
I have been in the service industry, and
So
I
you
have given
know what it takes.
I have given it at all levels, okay? I was a shop girl at one point, okay? And let me tell you, that is where I got gritty. I got gritty. I did what needed to be done, and I learned the epitome of sales and service. And then, it didn't end there. Don't worry. I evolved into many different service, like, elements of service, but I demand excellence because I give excellence. And I know that our team does just that. So when somebody is not providing that level of service back to me, I'm over here moving them along. And then, of course, I tip very well. Duh. But
this is a big piece of your journey though, because just for some background, like, Savannah and I went out to dinner. It was within your first 6 months, I think,
yeah,
at the company. And she was struggling with holding vendors accountable for specific things, or maybe pushing them a little further than what the standard ask of the job would be. And I remember we were actually talking about it at dinner, and we get to dinner and the entire situation is not up to Savannah's standard. Like, the table is dirty. She needed something. Like, she asked for it multiple times. Completely reasonable. Everything you were asking for was completely reasonable. But I saw how assertive you got, in the sense of, like, I was coming at you and being like, no, it's fine, Sav. Like, I don't need it. I don't need what I'm looking for. And you go, it's not fine. Like, hold on a second. We're going to get this. And I looked at you and I'm like, where was this girl on the phone with the vendor today? Like, it's the same thing. If you could literally bring this energy to the conversation that you were having today, you would have gotten a completely different result. And I swear I watched your brain glitch and a light switch just turn on, and you have not been the same since.
Well, and that's like, as it relates to, like, our team creates that level of service for other people, that then they're able to
expect it.
expect that level of service from our suppliers, and then our suppliers respect us, and so we have these great relationships with them. Our
Because we
team,
know it's not that hard. Like there's a lot of
exactly.
people who put the word no in front of, without hearing the question, the
Mhm.
answer's already no. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So we know that there's ways to manipulate this industry. We know that there's ways to get shit done. You have to ask the right person, you have to be consistent, and you have to be willing to actually push. So as far as you need to go, depending on the situation. But I think that that's part of it, is like, we know what it takes to get the end result, and to offer the service that we're offering. And that's what we expect. But I thought it was an interesting shift for you.
It was. It definitely was. But which I think would then bring us to our next thing would be this past year, and it's a double-edged sword, but I would say that the growth of our company, whether that be the people that we've brought on, whether that be our consultants, whether that be like our new building, and so many things that have come into play in this
Grateful for all of
specific
it.
year. Exactly. Because what, like, I mean, where would we be without it?
No, I believe everything that happened was a perfect storm. And I said this in the last episode, but I'm going to say it again. We were lucky. And the reason why we were able to be lucky is because the definition of luck, which is when preparation meets opportunity. And we needed to do the things that we did, and we were prepared to do them. And once the opportunity presented itself, we took it. And with that, I think it was a perfect storm of, we got the consultants on to help lead us, you know what I mean? And to help us make the decisions, the hard decisions that we were about to have to make. And then a new space opportunity comes about. And that's something that we would have hesitated so hard without the consultants on board ahead of time, because it's a huge commitment. It's millions of dollars that we're committing to
Mhm.
in terms of the space requirements that we were going to need. Having them on board, pushing us forward, being that wind beneath our wings, we needed it, or we would have
Mhm.
missed out on this opportunity. And then everything starts to fall into place from there.
We
And
get great new hires, or the
exactly.
talent that has come on this year.
Exactly. And that talent would not have decided to join our team if we were in our old building.
And
Like,
honestly, we probably wouldn't have even made the
looked
decision
for
to
it.
hire that talent. Like,
It was all, if you look back at it, it was divine, perfect timing in terms of everything that we needed to do, and the steps in the order of which we took them all happened
Mhm.
as they needed to go.
And
And I
that's-
am thankful.
and that's the thing with gratitude in particular, is like, you start to realize that like there's building blocks on top of, like, there's
Even when you
layers
think
to
things
it.
aren't going your way, like, even we were so stressed out that we couldn't stay in our old building. We wanted to so badly. We thought that it was all the space we needed. We couldn't believe that we were going to move again after we had just moved. And then we get to this space and we're like, oh crap, like, we would have outgrown that building in 2 months.
Exactly.
It was just, it's all happens the way it's supposed to happen. And I think remaining in this helicopter point of view of gratitude has been instrumental in our success.
I'm so grateful for you, because I mean, you continue to push me to grow. Like, I think that, like, ever since, like, we've gotten together,
It's been quite the marriage.
it has been, but like you continue to push me, and show me like new ways to like open my mind, expand my like horizons, in the sense of like, oh wait, there is so much more out there that we can totally do together, and like things that I wouldn't necessarily see, because I can be a little bit like in the minutia.
I think that's why me and you make such a good team, though, because I am terrible at the minutia, and me and you are the definition of two minds is better than one. Because together we have each other's, we both share a lot of strengths, but you also make up for a lot of my weaknesses.
No, you make up for a lot of mine too.
It's why we're great. But the key there is like, when I met you, I could not believe some of the similarities that I felt between me and you. And I felt like I had somebody that came in that understood me and understood this. I'm in a very unique position, and you have never pushed me to be what I guess the standard mold of what I'm supposed to be is. You know what I mean? You've always had this understanding of like, it's deeper than that. It's, it's not this black and white. It's not that simple. She can't just make a decision without considering this, or that. And having that ability to kind of lean into you and tell you like, Sav, I'm panicking right now. Like,
this is what's going on.
Is like, okay, I need you
Peel
not
back
to be
that
right. I
curtain.
need you not to freak out with what I'm about to tell you, because the company's going to survive, I swear. But here's what's going on. And like that, I needed that, you know what I mean? And you've just had this ability to kind of be like, okay, so that's bad, but have you thought about this? And it's always something positive. Every single time is something positive. And even, I mean, me and you have gotten into some real qualms, some real sticky wickets over the years where we're like, this is not good. Like, and what are we going to do? And together we kind of just go into it. And every time we're done with it, we look at each other and we're like, that wasn't as bad as we thought.
Well, exactly. And it, like, I think when you look at any problem, it can feel so overwhelming, especially like I've mentioned, I don't know if it was at the beginning of this episode or whatever.
Me and you both do this a lot where we panic up front.
Exactly.
Something happens.
The upfront panic. But then you start to realize, you recognize that it's a pattern that, like, okay, this is just something that we haven't done before. It seems extremely overwhelming. And like,
it's like the gym, though. We just gotta go.
We have a track record of getting it done and figuring it out. So like at this point, like,
it is what it is. And I feel better that at the end of it, like when me and you are aligned, it's the same way I feel about any decision that I have to make. When I'm aligned with someone that I trust, I feel comfortable going into it, even knowing there could be a bad outcome, because neither of us are going to blame each other for the bad outcome. It's going to be like, well, we definitely didn't anticipate that. So
like my EOI boxes.
Yeah, we definitely didn't anticipate that. So I think before we wrap up, we should talk about our favorite story of each other. You go first.
No, me go first. No, you go first.
I'll go first because it's only something that I just feel like needs to be on air for people. My favorite story is that when I was 5 months pregnant, Savannah made me go to Boston with her, and I was really excited to do it. And I'm really glad that I went. But on the way home, we ran. I'm doing it. I'm telling this story. On the way home, we ran into some issues with our flight, and it got canceled with no explanation. No one said anything. It just said that it's canceled. And Savannah needed to get home for something. Like there was something else.
I was really sick.
You were sick. There was something. I don't remember exactly what. There was something that, like, if you didn't get home, there was going to be a domino effect from there. Okay, so Savannah starts panicking. There's about 6 of us in the group.
There's so much to this story that
there's a lot of us in the group, and I'm 5 months pregnant, so I'm like sitting on the floor trying to figure out, like, what are we going to do here? And I look over, and Savannah's like just locked into her phone. And I'm like, what are you doing? And she's like, oh, I just got a flight. I can get home from like this time to this time. I'm like, what flight? And you like tell me the flight. I'm like, did you book it for all of us? And you go, no, there was only one ticket. but worst case scenario, I can get home.
Yes, I did that. That was me. Here's the thing. One thing about me is I am selfish. I am. I'll call a spade a spade. No, I'm selfish.
I was going to go with, you have the worst luck in terms of traveling. And where I wanted to end this story is with a question. How do you remain in a state of gratefulness, gratitude when you travel? Because you never, ever have good luck.
Girl, oh my God. So
if you travel with her, you will also be exposed to her bad luck.
Yeah, no, you'll be exposed to bad luck. No, here's the thing. With like my travel snafus,
which there are many.
Like a lot of my, like, again, I shift my mindset to, hold on, a lot of this is actually really just a first world problem. Yeah. And like that, like, okay, like, but
I'm in that moment, you're stuck.
Well, no, you're stuck. And I'm like, and I did not end up leaving them. I just got it in the event that we
weren't gonna find a way out.
Well, no, because she was saying she called up Josh, and she's like, Josh, her brother, is like, what do I do or whatever? And he's like, oh, you should go to Philadelphia. And we were like, I was like, oh my gosh, like, and then
she goes, I can't go to Philadelphia.
Like, we're not going to Philadelphia. And it was like, okay, hold on, Shay, like just she that. We need to get a picture of this. I have a picture somewhere. Shayna's literally sitting on the floor of the Boston Logan Airport, like locked into her computer.
5 months pregnant.
And literally, like, she ends up booking a ticket for the next morning, and then whatever. So I can't.
For all of us.
Exactly, for all of us, because she is not selfish and I am selfish. But we literally, we figured it out. It was fine. But yes, I shift into like a whole like, okay, this is a first world problem. Like, we ended up going back to we ended up booking a night at the same hotel that we stayed at. It ended up being fine. Once plans are made, then I feel better, or at least that there's a solution forward. When everything's up in the air, that's when I feel chaotic.
Dude, that was great. Because I remember we all leave the airport, go to dinner, and we look at each other and we say, we're not talking during this dinner.
No.
Like, I just want complete silence. Like, the only words are, can you pass the burrata, or else I don't want to talk.
No, it was so good. No, but that was like, it all ended up working out and it was great. My favorite story of you that I can tell on the podcast
Thank you.
would be actually when I first started working at SCG, and like I start getting like my groove into like getting some new accounts, some different things, and then Shayna has her wedding. And like she goes on her honeymoon, the audacity, right? God forbid she takes some time off for her wedding.
Which my honeymoon actually got canceled because of COVID. So I think I went to like a hotel for 3 days.
Yeah, no, literally. It exactly. Like you went to, you were somewhere in Florida, whatever, neither here nor there.
I went next to nowhere.
Exactly. But she was gone. And I had some things, like I was still new. I didn't fully like have the foresight to deal with some of the fires that I had to deal with. So I asked help from one of our colleagues that is very
Adam. It was Adam.
and I love him to death, and he's great, and he has his own method. He is very like, we need to have him on.
He's coming on.
The thing is, he's very busy. He's very, very busy, so it's hard to lock him down. But he's very like, the way that he deals with things is not how I deal with things. It works for him, and he does great, and he has a lot of proven success with it.
But there's a lot of nonchalance behind it.
Exactly, and your girl ain't. There's no chalance with this girl right here. So, he's like talking to some of my clients. There's a lot of back and forth. I'm literally dying, and I'm like, I can't bother Shayna with this. She's on her honeymoon. And then finally, like the second, I think it was maybe even the night before you were supposed to come back, you like text me and you're like, hey, is everything okay? Like whatever. Like I saw this email come through, and like literally a wave of just relief comes over me in a way that you cannot even imagine. Like, so thank you guys for tuning in. Have a very, very happy Thanksgiving. We're so thankful for you all. If you like this podcast, like, subscribe, follow along, and we will see you next Monday. Au revoir, brand connoisseurs.
I'm sorry, guys.